Would you believe me if I told you an old story? One where the beginning is more than 100 years old. One that's featured every big name to exist in auto racing. Would you believe me if I said nothing grows old here? Where thousands and thousands come to be awed and inspired by speed. One where dreams are born, then just as quickly destroyed. Would you believe me if I said it was more than just a race? One that requires so much sacrifice for just a chance at glory. One where their faces are etched into history to never be forgotten. Would you believe me if I said this version of the story was different? A version where the cars are virtual, but the racing and competition are real. A story that brings grown men and women to tears, then just a page later to a smile from ear to ear. A story so fast it's tough to keep up with. One with danger and thrill around each and every corner. A story about heartbreak. And a story about perseverance. It's a story about redemption. And a story about triumph.
Well, this is the closest thing, boys, to living a dream. Gentlemen, start your engines.
This is the story of the Wicked Energy Gum Fake 500.
And now, the next page of the story is ready to be written. We've seen the lead up, we've seen the preparation, and now it's time to go racing. It's the first of 3 days of action for race time here at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway, as it's time for the 2021 edition of the Crescent Donut Patriot 100, live on Elbows Up TV. I'm Justin Prinzel. On some of the booth tonight is Baden Stewart, Zane Scott, along with Billy Rowley. It's expected to be a big race tonight. 40 laps on the docket for the Patriot 100. These are the drivers who are unable to qualify their way into the second running of the Wicked Energy Gum Fake 500. But they'll all be looking to try and come away with glory tonight, Baden. A big race for some of these competitors. $25 on the line to the winner. Hundreds of dollars for the prize pool.
Oh, yeah. And more importantly, you're putting yourself as the first provisional for the Fake Five. You know, that's a big important thing here. But this is always an interesting one. Last year, we saw a very, very good race. And it was an opportunity for everybody to see how race day was going to play out. It was really, really interesting, basically. We're going to see a really good race here. These guys race super duper hard in this. I mean, it is crazy how hard this race ends up being ran. Very, very good race. It's always a lot of fun. And, you know, I know it's the consolation race, but it's a very good race, and there's a lot still on the line here.
Absolutely. You mentioned the totals, we mentioned provisionals, and there is a lot of pressure to win this type of event. Many have talked about they are happy to be a part of the festivities for the first part, but for second, the prestige when it comes to this racetrack and winning here, Billy, is what many drivers talked about who are taking part in tonight's focus.
Yeah, I think we're looking at the starting field right now, and we'll go through that here in just a little bit. But the focus of these guys really just has to be go out there, start getting some solid laps in. 40 laps, not a terribly long race, but around Indianapolis, still 45 seconds per lap. It's still going to be a fairly quick race, but You still have to show some patience. This is about the length of a full fuel run that we'll see on Saturday for the fake 500. So, mentally, a lot of these guys are bummed out that they weren't into the big show on Saturday, but they're still going to give it their all and try to get put a little bit of cash in their pocket and get some of that Indy glory.
Was talking with some of the drivers baiting in preparation for tonight. Some drivers said they were cautiously optimistic, like Dallas Breeze, or in the case of Aaron Roofs. He felt good about tonight, but it's also going to be important how some of these drivers react to the pack itself. Your thoughts on what's expected to be a interesting night of action and, as Billy mentioned, essentially a sprint.
Yeah, I think early you see guys kind of fan out a little bit. I expect to see them spread out a little bit, not a lot. You gotta be ready. You gotta be there. But there'll be a little bit of riding, but again, not much. Because again, 100 miles at the speedway is not long. That is not a long distance. 40 laps here will go by pretty quick. So you're gonna see guys ready to pounce. They're gonna be ready, but I think you'll see a stint at the beginning that'll be a very cautious few laps, and once they get comfortable in the draft, they've had a lot of practice, but I think once they get comfortable in the draft and in race trim, then they go on the attack, and it'll get very exciting from there.
A couple storylines to get into tonight for this one, Billy. First things first, the initial pole sitter for this event was supposed to be Bobby Rafferty due to work obligations, unable to make the field. Who else, as a result, are you keeping on? He was one of the favorites to win this.
Yeah, I think he was kind of the all-around favorite to win this. Really looking at Aaron Ralph's, Tyler Grafton. Tyler Grafton last year started inside of the third row for the fake 500, so that just shows how solid the field is this year of guys trying to get them cars faster each and every year for this event. But I think that those two, Adam Plunkett is going to be another one that's going to really give it a shot. Dallas Breeze and Braden McMahon. I think those are the guys to watch for throughout this race.
Drivers currently in the midst of taking photographs and preparing for what's expected to be a huge one tonight. Again, in race control, in for the drivers' meeting are Zane Scott and Jeffrey Stewart for tonight's action. Now, before we look towards our starters, Baden, who are you keeping an eye on for this race tonight? Who may be the underdogs, the drivers you've seen and felt grinded their way throughout the past couple weeks of practices and qualifying to prepare for this week and are ready to show what they can do tonight?
So I think Dallas Breeze is going to be a big one to watch. He clearly had speed. He had a lot of speed in some of these practice sessions. I mean, he was running with front-running guys that are in the big show. Another one's Braden McMahon. He had very good pace. He has a lot of experience with running this car in a pack from last year's 500. He'll be very good. Aaron Rouse, he has shown a lot of pace, but just doesn't have the luck. Really big ditto on what Billy said. Adam Plunkett as well, and then obviously Tyler Grafton. He's got some fake 5 experience from being in the field last year. I think that's going to go a long ways. Last year, this race was interesting for us because we weren't sure what to expect. Last year, this race was our first time seeing what we were going to get on track, but now a lot of the guys in this field have ran this car in a race at the speedway, and I think they're going to be able to push a whole lot harder than they did last year. You got a pretty stacked field here, and a lot of guys that have experience being in this car at the speedway.
Some drivers in the midst of still rolling their cars out for the starting grid for tonight's action. Let's take a look at how they will start for the 2021 edition of the Crescent Donut Patriot 100 at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where it is 66 degrees, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. On the pole tonight, it's Tyler Grafton from Springfield, Illinois, driving the Holy Cow Beef Snacks machine, while Christopher Tate will start on the outside front row provisionally. Aaron Ralph starts in third tonight from the Rated Gaming an Artesian PC machine, while Adam Plunkett starts in 4th from Vancouver, Washington, and from ETA Racing. Brandon McMahon starts in 5th tonight in the Team Jack Foundation and Vapor Trail clothing machine from Nashville, Tennessee, while it is Benendorf at Iowa's RS Button Boxes and AccuTool driver Dennis Gainey. Rylan Gray starts in row 5 from Gray Auto from Greenfield, Indiana, while the Farmington, Minnesota-based driver Michael Sheridan starts in row 4 outside in the M&M Painting and Construction Babs N Nice Great machine. In row 5, it's Dustin Griffiths from Bloomington, Indiana in the Crescent Donuts machine, sponsored as well by Catch Fence Apparel and Jessup Logistics, while Gregory Turner starts on the outside of the row in 10th from Anaheim, California. Dallas Breeze starts in row 6 for Apex Autosport, but the TCR Japan car of Anthony Carini scheduled to start on the outside of him. Lance Bonberg, one of the Northwest-based drivers in the field, starts alongside Miles Jansen from Duluth, Minnesota, while Chaz Woodward and Michael Klein will round out the top 8 rows for tonight's action. In row 9, it's Nick Nichols from Colorado Springs, Colorado, while Daniel Lindsay starts in the outside in the Rockstar Gaming Machine. Kyle May starts in row 10 alongside Carl Burke in the VSM Racing Machine, while Yuri Packer starts in 11th, row 11 specifically for the JB Racing car. Brendan Cooper starts the outside of the row, while Juan Pablo Ruiz and Chris Peterson round out your entrants for the Crescent Donut Patriot starting grid. Drivers currently in the midst of planning things out once more. Let's take a look at your weather once again tonight. It is getting hotter, the track, as preparations continue for tonight. 66 degrees, once more air temp, mostly cloudy skies around the racetrack, 102 degrees Fahrenheit, winds currently northwest at 7 miles an hour. Humidity also very hot at 85% today. It's expected to be a very competitive race. Drivers about 20 seconds away from finishing up their roll towards your starting grid for tonight's action. Baden, your thoughts and keys to victory for tonight.
Normally, at the Speedway, the big ticket is patience, taking care of your stuff and getting there. And I really think at the end of this race, it's all going to come down to whoever's the boldest. That's what this race is going to be. You're obviously going to have some of that super speedway racing going on. You're going to have to time your runs. You're going to have to be smart there, but it's going to come down to being aggressive and just fast. This is a short race, and you've got to have the pace, and I think that's what a lot of this comes down to tonight.
Cars are now rolling onto the grid for their final few moments of preparation. Billy, your keys to try and come away with the Patriot 100 tonight.
Well, I think you've got to be, again, we talked about it earlier in the week, you have to be patiently aggressive. You really have to make sure that your car is on point. You have to take these first couple laps really to make sure that you're in good race pace, not getting into trouble early. That's going to be the main thing. We saw this last year. Keep your car clean for the first 30-35 laps. You've got a chance to win the race. Came down to the wire last year with the top 4 coming to the checkered flag, all underneath a blanket. So really, you just have to put yourself into that top 5, positions, towards the end of the race in order to put yourself in contention. But biggest thing, keep the car clean, keep that nose wing undamaged, and you should have yourself a good Patriot 100.
Drivers now rolling on the starting grid. Overall, 14 drivers able to make the starting grid out of the scheduled 24. One driver has elected to start from the pit lane in Lindsay for this race. Now, one thing to keep in note is payouts were originally scheduled for the top 17 drivers who start and take the green flag for the Patriot 100. The drivers who do not end up making that total end up having the prize pool go back to the payout for the positions that do not take the green. In other words, that adds an extra $10 to the prize pool for the remainder of the weekend for this one, Billy.
Yeah, which I think that's an important piece. Again, these guys are really racing for pride, a little bit of cash to get some of that entry fee back. But I don't think a lot of them are paying attention for or racing for the money at this point. They're racing for that first alternate spot in case somebody has computer trouble tomorrow or can't make the race for some reason. They're going to really be putting in a solid effort here to try to win the race in order to get themselves potentially into the fake 500. So this race has very big implications.
Drivers getting all set to going green out of turn 4. Again, this race sponsored by Crescent Donuts, local donut shop based in Bloomington, Indiana. They're open Wednesdays through Sundays. For more information from them, call 812-339-7771. Drivers all set to roll for the Patriot 100. It's Tyler Grafton who will take the green flag. Aaron Rouse on the outside. iRacing pace car ready to dart off at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Crescent Donut Patriot 100 is underway from Indianapolis.
Oh, we got one in the wall in the South Short chute.
And already a crash. First caution flag is out. It's Lance Spomberg. No fast repairs in this year's event either, so that means already one driver, significant damage on lap 1, turn 2. Let's take a look at the race instant replay as that was contact with Dallas Breeze. That sent him hard into the fence, Billy.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't know if Dallas didn't expect him to be there. Must have caught Dallas off guard a little bit to see him, to see them out there. Unfortunate for Lance Spomberg there, though.
Yeah, the Northwest-based driver with significant damage, Baden.
I'm going to say that you see it do some unnatural stuff. Dallas Breeze car, that is. You see the car do some unnatural stuff here. I'm thinking there might be some netcode in this incident. Just the way the rear end of the car starts to hop around, it looks very unnatural.
Yeah. Unfortunately for him, significant damage that could take some time to repair. Keep in mind that drivers were told in the drivers' meeting to be careful, and again, no fast repairs in any of the events as part of the second annual Wicked Energy Gum Fake 500 race week. It's a quick yellow track, by the way, around here, but Aaron Rouse was able to take the race lead at the top of the caution flag. Tyler Grafton quickly fell back to second, Baden, and fast. McMahon jumped up to third. Grave jumped up to fourth.
You know, that was a really good jump by Roos there at the start. This is kind of tricky. It's hard. You got to get shuffled into line. You got to see where you're going to fall, where you're going to ride, and this kind of forces these guys to do that. So that's interesting. It's always exciting to watch all the splicing and dicing, but we've kind of forced guys in line here, and we'll see how they want to go about this coming back to green here in a single file start.
Indeed, compared to the double file. Of note, Lance Spomberg has made his way to the pit lane for significant damage repair on the racetrack. The lights are still on for an additional pace lap as we look at the catch fence apparel speed cams around the racetrack today. Real quickly, the first lap, fittingly, was sponsored by a driver who said essentially a pun of getting whacked with a twisted T. Unfortunately, Lance Spomberg whacked with significant amount of damage. The rest of the lap sponsored for the Patriot 100 by Rated Gaming. The new era is here. Follow them at Rated Gaming HQ.
Yeah, and big shout out to them for coming on board for the Patriot 100 as well, getting all the rest of the laps sponsored. So that's Aaron Ralph's team, and they've been a big supporter of the Fake 500 for the last two years now. So glad to see puts a little bit more cash into the prize pool for the Crescent Patriot 100.
Yes, indeed. And now, after such a quick caution flag, Billy, how do you feel the drivers are going to try and approach this now with the single file start compared to the double file?
I don't think we really saw anything too outrageous on the start there. It's one of those hate to say it, but kind of getting the first race of the week jitters out. You know, I know a lot of guys that are running the fake 500 are probably tuning in watching this to see how this race goes, to see how it plays out, especially some of the rookies that are in the field that haven't experienced it. So you kind of take it as a learning curve right now to make sure you're not in putting yourself in jeopardy too early.
Indeed. Want to go signal this time by to reset your top 10. It's Rels, Grafton, McMahon, Gray. Plunkett dropped 2 spots to 5th. Gainey to 6th. Breeze in 7th. Klein, Jensen, May. Your top 10. Spomberg currently now out of contention. He has already lost a lap with significant damage. Drivers will go on the iRacing green flag. And now, your thoughts, Baden, as we get ready to re-rack them and stack them.
You know, this is a much smaller field than we saw last year for the Patriot. So a big part of it now is survival. I mean, you have to be aggressive. You have to be there. But with there only currently being 14 cars on the racetrack, you really want to make sure you survive, because you know that that's not the last crash. And as tight as this is, you can clean out a few cars very, very fast here. Very, very fast. So, you know, if you just give yourself that buffer for the next few laps, it's going to go a long ways here. And I think you're going to see some guys, you're going to see some jitters pop up here. They're not out of the system at this point. This might have made them worse, in all honesty. You know, that was an unfortunate incident that we saw there. I don't know if I can really blame jitters. I think that was just an issue as far as iRacing goes, but I really think that you need to be smart here. That's the biggest thing for the next 30 laps, 25, 30 laps, is just be smart.
iRacing pace car is off, coming to the start of lap 5. Bit of a buffer between 4th and 5th as the green flag's back out. And a bit of trouble at the back of the field. They're already crashing yet again. No caution yet. Kyle May involved. We stay green.
Kyle May just Cooganed.
Yeah, that was definitely a Kevin Coogan moment. I think anticipating the start, jumped on the brakes to check up, and essentially took himself out of contention for the Patriot 100.
Significant back wing damage. Yes, Baden, pardon.
I said that damn Coogan.
Indeed, but battles going on across the field. Second, McMahon now up to that spot. Gray already up to 3rd. Grafton is losing spots from the get-go early on. He's dropped from the front to the back of the main pack.
Yeah, kind of shocking out of Grafton, too. I expected him to want to try to get out front and lead this race, but I'm almost really just wondering if he's playing in it to ride, or are we seeing some weather implications here? Maybe not expecting the higher track temps. Car might be a little bit tighter than what he thought, and just kind of riding and seeing how the car comes to him later on through the race.
Yeah, he is really looking like he's pushing in the arrow right now. The fastest lap last time by was by Rylan Gray. Of note, he is up to 3rd. So, top 3 starting to close in with the clouds, starting to circulate the track. 106. Battle for the race lead is on. McMahon trying to get the pull on Ralphs. Ralphs trying to stick to the outside wall. Keep in mind, this wind sees the wind blowing from behind them. They're reaching up to 195 miles an hour into the corners.
Looks like we've got a cloud blowing over the racetrack from the north end of the racetrack to the south, and that's going to make things interesting. We're going to see if it's enough cloud here to cool things down just a little bit.
Trouble. Lindsey Jensen involved in trouble out of turn 2, and we're back under yellow for the second time. And Lindsey, keep in mind, had started from the pit lane for this race, and now gets involved in quickly the second caution. He was the last car to get into the incident after trouble with Jensen, where he came up the track and lost it as his 3rd car also had spun it, the 89.
Good save by Yari there. Yari Brupacher gets backwards in turn number 2, but keeps it off the wall. Very, very good work there by him.
For Jensen, unfortunately, hit the wall a couple times and then Looks okay, then bam!
Yeah, and I don't think Dano was expecting Miles to move down the racetrack. I don't think he was expecting him to move back down the racetrack. That's one of those situations where you just kind of got to hold the brakes and hope for the best that nobody comes through. But when you're removing targets, sometimes it's tricky. But I think Braden McMahon right now is really showing some pretty good pace. Can't really get by Aaron there, but he might just be, again, biding his time to wait for the right time to strike. Because, again, like we said, it's early. We've already had 2 yellows within the first 8 laps. So really got to be mindful here.
Keep in mind, we're already having 2 drivers who are in the garage area out of the race. Kyle May, Lance Bomberg are both out of the race. Jansen and Lindsay are the drivers who have already had to use tows for the incident, down to already 11 cars early on with 32 laps to go. Is this a bad sign, Baden, for this many quick caution flags? This is 2 yellows in the first 8 laps, as cars are faking their way to pit for the most part, except for Plunkett.
I don't think it is. You know, the field is so thin that this isn't going to last long. This will be sorted out pretty quick here. And, you know, right now we're looking at about 11 cars on the racetrack now. Yeah, 11 cars. You're going to see this stuff calm down. You know, there's no reason. These guys know there's no reason. At this point, if you're on the racetrack and on the lead lap, you're in striking distance. So I think that's where you're going to see guys calm down and know that you're right there no matter what. And again, you keep this up, there's not going to be many people race at the end, but I think things are going to calm down here pretty quick.
Your thoughts, Billy?
Yeah, kind of the same thing. I think a lot of the guys up front are riding. You know, unfortunate for Ryland there getting into the fence, just getting tight. But again, that goes back to the guys that are up front, or the guys, really, truthfully, that have put a lot of practice into this. Running in the draft, understanding what the cars do. It looked like to me Ryland just got tight through the center of the corner and really just got into the fence. So, I mean, you just kind of got to calm the jitters, and, you know, we're a quarter of the way through the race. We knew it's going to be, you know, you kind of go into it thinking that it might be like this to start. But hopefully after the get the green back out, we can get on a pretty good run, because I have a feeling Ralphs, McMahon, Gray, and Grafton are all going to be putting on a heck of a show here. You know, if you guys have watched the what used to be the Freedom 100, it's gone now at during the month of May. A lot of times that's one of the best races of the weekend, and last year it was definitely a good race to the end. So these guys just got to have some patience and some understanding of what they're racing for, but, you know, keep the car underneath them. That's the most important thing.
Want to go signal this time by, and you mentioned some of the history there. How about 4 wide finishes and 3 wide finishes in recent years, Baden, from that event in its time?
I'm telling you, that was one of the best races of the year all around. The Freedom 100 was always just a all-out, wild, awesome race. It was always like that. Very, very cool race. You know, I was there a few times. I think I was there for the 4-wide finish, and I think I was there for the 24 10,000ths finish a couple years ago. It's always a cool race, and this seemed to last year kind of live up to that. You know, we had a wild finish at the end of this deal here last year, and I'm kind of hoping that we see the same this year. It's always a really fun race, exciting, and I hope that we can get the same spirit out of this.
Hope so too. By the way, Jansen out of the race. That's her 3rd DNF. Lindsay is still getting damage repair done. To his credit, he's already gotten part of his front wing repaired of note, so we may see the 12th come back out and try and get some totals. The reason that's significant is the pay totals go up for the top 10. If any more cars have trouble and he's able to get the car repaired, and some people DNF, he might be able to bump his way up from the $5 bracket to the $10 bracket as this night goes on. He needs some luck, though, and some trouble for the 11 remaining cars. 30 laps to go for the Crescent Donut Patriot 100 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Rouse, McMahon, Gray, Grafton, Gainey. Your top 5 on the racetrack. Grafton -3, Gray +3. Your biggest mover, Carl Burke, up to 7th. Off and away goes Ralphs. Everybody else is caught sleeping by a good 5 car lengths.
Yeah, and that might actually be huge for McMahon and Rylan Gray, because they can get the draft working where Aaron Ralphs is kind of a sitting duck. They might drive by him. That's one of the things about Indianapolis that you really have to watch, is getting too good of a start. Because 2 cars here in the draft are definitely faster than 1. So you really have to play mind. It'll be interesting to see what the lap times are the next time around, to see how much quicker they are. But maybe Aaron Ralphs has enough speed in that thing to where he can kind of run away and hide. And Bobby Rafferty was talking about that, trimming the car out, having a little bit on the sketchy side to try to see what he could do if he could run away. But it looks like Braden and Ryland are catching up quick.
Yeah, they've already closed up 2/10 in one half of the racetrack as Dallas Breeze to the inside, able to make the move that time for 4th position. 49.2 that time by the stripe. Everyone else ran in the 49.6 as a big amount of draft pulled in that time as Grafton's descent continues from the top of the board to the middle of the pack.
It's kind of interesting right now. You don't see Rouse trying to break any draft that McMahon might be able to get off of him. He's just running his line and doing his thing. I think he kind of understands that if they're going to get him, they're going to get him. He's not putting any wild attempts, jumping to the bottom down the straightaway, any of that. He's just running his line and being smart here. I think he understands that if they get him, they get him, but he's got the speed to fight with them when they do catch him. Right now, you see Dallas Breeze reeling him in. He's right there on Ryland Gray's gearbox. I think Dallas Breeze is going to be ready to go here. And it looks like Tyler Grafton's a lot snug back there in turn number 1.
Yeah, Grafton has been looking tight the entire time so far. But Dallas Breeze is your quickest car on the racetrack by 2/10 still. He's the Apex Auto Sport machine, looking to check up a little bit with Ryland Gray. And this shouldn't be surprised to see the pace of Dallas Breeze. We've seen him quick throughout a lot of the practices, Billy, especially the end of the sessions, around where these conditions were in the sessions and time of day.
Yeah, he's been extremely quick. He said to us after qualifying that he just, honestly, jitters got to him. He couldn't put 4 laps together that he needed to. Knew that he had a good race car to get there, just had to get qualified in. Unfortunately, couldn't do it into the Wicked Energy Gun Fake 500, but he's showing his muscle here, moving up quite a few spots and putting himself into the top 5.
And their fastest lap of the race so far, 47th flat last time by. They have caught up to Ralphs, though. McMahon trying to take a peek to the inside. Not close enough yet as Gray tries to get to the back end of the gearbox. Breeze continues to just let off and be more patient. Keep in mind, we talked about this before at the start of the race too, Baden, is fuel, and more fuel. Some might be wanting to save. Some, like McMahon, wants the lead right here, right now. Taking the move to his Dallas Breeze. Move McMahon to the race lead. Breeze going for 3rd. Can't get the pass complete.
Yeah, it looks like Dallas stalled out on the bottom there. I think he just didn't have enough downforce. He was in dirty air, and that just wasn't going to work for him. But that was probably the smart move. That was probably the best call he could have made was to just check up there and just get back in line, because he knows he's got the speed. He'll be able to make this pass, and then who knows what these 3 in front of him are going to do too. I mean, these guys are getting wild pretty quick here.
That was Lindsay, by the way, moving off the racetrack and out of the way. He is several laps down. The last car running now 4 laps down to the racetrack. McMahon, though, lost the bottom. Got shuffled out to 3rd, while Breeze still stuck in 4th. 25 laps to go on the Crescent Donut Patriot 100 as Gray looks to try and find a way around Ralphs. Ralphs has been the dominant car so far.
I think Aaron's shown what he's got here. There's really no question that he's got the pace. It looks like Dallas Breeze is backing up a little bit. Tyler Grafton right there with him. This might be the best spot for Dallas, though, because like I said, these 3 up front, there's no holds barred up front right now. Ryland Gray going for the lead into turn number 3. It looks like he's going to get the pass done here. Rouse is going to scoot back. He's going to fall back in line here in the North Shore.
Oh, caution! And that's in that second pack. Klein, Juan Pablo Ruiz involved in trouble. And just like that, we're under yellow, coming to 24 laps to go in the Crescent Donut Patriot 100. Let's take a look at what happened on your second annual Wicked Energy Gum 500 replay. Hard hits.
Yeah, and it looked a lot like, we'll go on board with Michael Klein just to see here. It almost just looks like he got up next to Ruiz, stalled out completely. Ruiz got a heck of a run, and Ruiz comes down the racetrack, and both of them into the fence and upside down. So tough break for Michael Klein.
I think that Ruiz was expecting Michael Klein to run a little bit lower on entry. His entry was a little bit later, I think, than Ruiz was expecting there. And Ruiz just came down. Michael Klein was there. He didn't expect him to be. He expected Michael Klein to turn in a little bit earlier, and that's the result right there.
And that's why if you're Lindsay, you stay in the race, because Ruiz is now out. That moves him up one spot in a couple laps to 11th. And depending on how long Klein is in repairs, that could be a top 10 now for Lindsay as a result, and could get him an extra $5, Billy. So smart move, and very patient driver to be able to stick it out and hope for some more attrition.
Yeah, as a guy that's done that myself a couple times of sitting around and, waiting for those repairs, going out on track, getting a lap in, and it looks like we might get some pit road action here.
Ooh, this is interesting.
So, some pit road action out of Dallas Breeze and Ryland Gray. They must have opted to go with a little bit different fuel strategy than what these other cars had.
Well, either way.
Yeah. And tires.
Yeah, exactly. Tires, and that could be a pretty big factor. Give these guys a little bit of time here to, kind of get their composure. Again, though, track position. Track position is pretty big. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here as these guys come off of pit road.
And there's no reason to not at this point. I mean, that's a smart call. You're not losing. The track position you're losing is truly minimal. And if you can gain just a little bit of speed back through new tires, you're right back where you were. You're not losing a lot of track position here. I mean, at this point, it looks like an Indy Lights field out there. So you're not losing a lot of track position with jumping down pit road. And I think that's a good call.
The interesting thing is, Rose was one of the drivers who mentioned that he felt pitting might be a bad idea depending on the caution flags, believe it or not. But I also don't know if he thought there'd be long enough runs to where there's already a decent amount of fall that can fall into play here by the end of this run potentially, since we've already ran 10-ish green flag laps, give or take, on the set of tires. I also don't think he was expecting there to be just 4 drivers to stay out.
Yeah, I guess my outlook on it is I'm only pitting for tires if I believe that I needed to make an adjustment and couldn't really do it under green. As far as either an air pressure adjustment, to potentially try to tighten or loosen this car up a little bit. We're seeing more guys on the tight side with the way that the weather has played out. 105-degree track temp. We haven't seen it this hot since practice day last week. So a lot of these guys, tuned their race setups for cooler temperatures, cooler track temps, and different wind speeds. So a couple guys might have been played out by weather and just needed to make a tire pressure adjustment under that caution flag to give himself a little bit more speed. But again, it puts you towards the back of the pack, which all the crashes that we've seen so far, all 3 yellows, have all come from the back. So it's a gamble to lose that track position, even though that there's not that many cars difference. I mean, Dallas Breeze came in 4th and is going to come out in 6th, so he really didn't lose too much. But again, you're putting yourself a little bit farther back.
And right now you got Adam Plunkett. He just decided he would jump down pit road. He's a taker now as well.
So he's elected to try and do something different here, possibly. Of note, Klein is out of the race. Plunkett came in because he did have wing damage. So he's having to get repairs done on his car. He might not make it to the grid in time for this next green flag. He is off and away right now, but that's going to potentially hurt him as well with the damage. You don't want to damage these front wings, as it can hurt your speed, Baden.
Yeah, it's massive. It hurts your speed a ton. Right now, as long as you stay tucked up under somebody, you're going to have the draft, and that's going to go a long, long ways for that damage. And you ride as long as you can until the next yellow, and you dive down and fix that car a little bit more here. Let's see where he's at. He's coming down the backstretch. I think he's going to catch him here. He might have Harry Hogg yelling in his ear, telling him that he's going to be wide open when the green flag falls here.
Yeah. He's going to be at full speed when he catches the pack just about, as everyone's all set for the green flag up at the front. Approaching halfway to the Crescent Donut, Patriot 100, 21 to go this time. Rels McMahon, Grafton, Burke, Gray, your top 5, Breeze, Rumpacker, Gainey, Plunkett. All on the lead lap. Green flag's back out, and a much more tighter start for the most part. McMahon, though, watches a huge launch again from Rels and Company.
First 3 spread out quite a bit. We're going to see how this plays out. Tyler Grafton, he's on the charge. He's back up to 3rd now. He was not a taker. We're going to see how this tire strategy plays out, though. Some of these guys that jumped down pit road took some tires. We're going to see what that does for him. That's going to be really interesting to see. This thing looks like it seems like it gets a little bit faster for a while. As you build heat in the tires, you build some tire pressure. But I think these new tires might just help here. But so far, they're not looking like it. They've spread out quite a bit.
At least in the early part. And keep in mind, it takes about 3 laps for the tires on these cars to heat up to their optimal temperatures and then go from there. Right now, the gap has already grown to 2.5 seconds at the end of the race is where the tires, I think, could come into play the most. The top 4 are all single file. The rest of the drivers are all scrapping hard side by side. Breeze and Gray in the second pack. That can slow them down. They ran 8/10 slower the first lap off the launch.
McMahon and Grafton are 2 routes. They've brought Carl Burke with them. McMahon looking to the inside down the backstretch. He's going to have the bottom when they go into turn 3 here. Let's see if he's got the momentum to clear him. Yes, he does. Ralph's going to try to fall back in line here. This is going to get interesting up front.
Back and forth it's gone between McMahon, Rouse, as well as before then, Gray was amongst the cars fighting, but Rouse back to the inside of the Team Jack machine. Looking back and forth as Rouse leads at the stripe. 19 to go, just past halfway. Carl Burke, the quickest of the 4 that time from the Northwest. As McMahon keeps it to the right side, trying to keep it side by side in the corner, a bit dicey.
You know, if you can make that top line work, that's huge, and that's almost demoralizing for the guy you're racing. Tyler Grafton looking to make it 3 wide. He knows better. He checks up. Going to get back up. He's 2 wide with Carl Burke there. He's going to fall to the back of the pack there. He's 4th now. Brayden McMahon holding strong on the top. That is a big power move right there. That is what you want to do if you're trying to make up that ground.
This is helping exactly. Breeze, Gray, and Gainey are coming up and quick with this fight for the race lead. Burke trying to choose a side and make it 2x2 just about as Burke backs off. Grafton thought about it. And now, that second pack is already within 2 seconds of the lead.
Yeah, and these guys aren't organized enough. They're still burning off speed. McMahon gets shuffled back. Him and Carl Burke are still racing. Brayden is not giving up on the top there. He's high-side hustler right now. But that second group, I think they're a little more organized. They've got a little more speed, and I think they're going to catch him.
At this rate, possibly, as long as they don't keep scrapping like they are. Gray and Breeze just went back and forth. McMahon, though, in rounds, continue to go back and forth now with 17 to go this time by. And both of them seem really impressive in the draft. Seem like 2 of the best cars. It's the matter of, can they stay up at the front? Is McMahon to the inside again once more, Billy?
Yeah, Brayden just really wanting to get the lead here. Finally led that last lap. But like Baden was saying, really impressive on the outside of the racetrack. Kind of demoralizing if you're Aaron Rouse. Doing everything you're supposed to be doing around this racetrack, being on the bottom side and just not being able to get the job done. But here goes Aaron right back by Brayden one more time. This is kind of shades to what we saw last year during the Patriot 100. A lot of lead changes, playing shuffleboard up front. But Brayden with a big move back to the inside. But Aaron Rouse giving him room and hanging tough. But Rouse gets big tight coming off the corner. So that's really going to hurt him down the straightaway speed. But Burke going up the middle.
Carl Burke nearly hit the left rear tire trying to send the Atlas Outlaws racing machine to the bottom for the race lead for the first time tonight. Takes it away and clips the apron.
He got free there. I thought we were going to see him Scott Sharp the car there. He got real free. That's a good save. It doesn't look like a lot, but man, that was out of hand there.
And already within the draft, within 1 second, Breeze, Gainey, and Gray are coming in quick. Ralph's again to the lead. He talked about prior to tonight's race, he felt he found the right adjustments to make as the conditions in the tires were and the fuel burn for his car. He's still scrapping hard with Carl Burke. 15 laps to go in the Crescent Donut Patriot 100. This time by McMahon shuffled to third. Grafton still in fourth.
Right now up front, you're seeing organized chaos. When the other three get to it, it's just going to be sheer calamity when they get up there. This is going to get real interesting. You throw 3 more cars into this mix, and it's going to get wild.
This has been wild so far, to say the very least, but it's about to get even more wild. Here come the fresher tires. Dallas Breeze, we've seen how quick he was coming in, quick baiting before. He's now got a massive toe.
Oh, he's
just
right
pulled
there.
4/10 down the straight.
And at this point, you're within 15 to go. You're looking about it. Go time. Oh, no, Ralph's around. He tags the right front of Braden McMahon. They're both in the wall. Dallas Breeze backwards. Is he going to keep it out of the wall there? Oh,
no.
He did not.
Caution is out. And that just demolished the majority of your pack. Burke is the leader. What a mistake at that time.
Tyler Grafton has taken rear wing damage as well as Dallas Breeze. It's not a lot. They might be able to jump down and get the car fixed, but right now, Carl Burke, the beneficiary of all that, along with Dennis Gainey and Rylan Gray. Yari Brubacher, one of the only, I believe, 4 cars not tore up right now. He's going to be fast now.
He does have a little bit of left front damage of note, but man, oh man, Billy.
Yeah, Braden just got in there way too hot. I thought that, I think he maybe thought that Aaron was going to give him a little bit more room than that getting into the corner, but just unfortunate circumstances there. I know Braden definitely not what he wanted to see, and I know Aaron's got to be absolutely torched right now.
So looking at the count, Carl Burke, clean race car. Grafton demolished right. And Dennis Gainey, clean race car, it appears. Gray, clean race car. Just about everybody else has a bit of damage now in the race cars. Ralph's one of the favorites out. McMahon now off the track. Wow. So where do you go from here now with the majority of the field with damage?
If I'm with as long as these yellow flag laps are, if I'm Dallas Breeze or Adam any of these guys that have slight damage, I'm coming down pit road, getting as much of it fixed as humanly possible. Dallas has a little bit of rear wing damage. I don't know what that's going to do with him. So it's going to be interesting to see as Adam Plunkett's down in pit road one more time, getting his machine fixed up. Yari Brubacher, though, he is, again, clean race car, so going to be interesting to see what he can do. Hasn't really been towards the front of the pack the majority of the race. Kind of a Calamity Jane situation we got going on here. About 4 or 5 cars left that don't have damage to them, so, again, these guys got to be patient. I know you're trying to race hard, but patience is a virtue, and that's just kind of a reminder. If you're racing on Saturday, patience. That's going to be the name of the game, because a little bit overly aggressive out of McMahon early. Still had 12 laps to go when that wreck happened, but we'll still have 4 good cars left. Potentially 5. So it's just going to be interesting to see what the aero damage does with these cars.
Coming up to the 1 to go signal this upcoming time by, and again, your favorites now: Carl Burke, no damage; Gainey, no damage. The Illinois-based driver, or the Bettendorf-based driver rather, from Iowa, looking to try and scrap. Rylan Gray, also with the clean race car, is going to fake out one of the others. Dallas Breeze coming in for that back wing damage repair. Faded.
Yeah, Dallas was going to do that either way. There was no faking there. Ryland was waiting to see what everybody else did. He's opted to stay out. That's the right call. You're one of 3 cars without damage. You need to stay out. That's a good call. Tyler Grafton here in second is going to be really interesting. That car's going to be slowed up by that rear wing damage. And he's got 2 that are clean and going to be really, really, really fast right behind him.
So here's your guys' picks here with coming up to an 11-lap shootout at this point here. Baden, first to you with what's now turned into an interesting one.
I don't know. Carl Burke has shown really good pace in traffic. He's ran really, really good, but Ryland Gray had a lot of speed early. I really don't know, and I mean, you can't forget Dennis Gainey. And as far as cars with damage, Yari Brupacher with just a little bit, he might be right there too. This is going to be interesting.
Well, and I'm curious to see what this rear wing damage is going to be doing for Grafton as well as Dallas Breeze. You know, this is it's something I didn't really expect. I figured with a smaller field we'd have a little bit more give and take, but there's just been a whole lot of take right now. So a lot of fast cars on the hook right now. So hopefully they can get these last 10 laps sorted out, and we can have a good run to the finish.
Of note, Ralphs is now out of the race. He is now entered onto the DNF list. That's now our 6th total DNF. Lindsay now has a chance to jump up as high as 8th as a result of that incident. 7 cars still in the lead lap on track. Majority with damage. Burke looking to try and pull off a big victory. Green flag is out. A late start from Burke and company. Still a good launch for the rest of the pack.
Oh, wow. What happened there? Adam Plunkett had the motor let go on the front stretch. He's going to coast to turn 1 and get down onto the apron. Adam Plunkett. I believe that's what happened there. No, he's rolling now. I don't know if I think he missed a shift.
And what a time to miss it, especially with the chance to battle for the win. Now the draft, not so much. Gainey's drove it on by. Gray's drove it on by. The drivers with damage, though, are starting to fall back a bit. Grafton already has been shuffled back a couple seconds nearly. Wow, the 89 trying to hold him on to the inside, can't make the move.
Yeah, Carl Burke, he's out. He's got a little bit of buffer, but that's not enough. Dennis Gainey gonna get a tow here. He's got the run. He's looking. We're coming to 10 to go. It's about to get wild. Ryland Gray right there too. I think Ryland Gray is probably going to be the most aggressive of the 3 here. Dennis Gainey to the outside. Will it stick? Can he make it work? No, he does not have the run. No, he does. I'm not sure what's going on here. Yeah, Dennis Gainey right there on the outside. He's trying to make it work, and he's showing some good pace around the top.
Burke trying to get the post on the bottom side. Gainey tops out at the end of the straight. Here comes the pull now for Burke. In the midst of the headwind. Into turn 3 for the race lead. Burke holds on for now. Grace shuffles back in the line. Coming up to 9 to go as Gainey tries to get to the right side tire. Has to drift up the racetrack. They're back single file to regroup.
Yeah, Carl Burke trying to make that car as wide as he can. At this point, you're coming to 9 to go. You kind of have to. You don't really have an option. Dennis Gainey looking to the inside again here. Oh, he's to the bottom. Oh, the door gets shut on him. The car gets tight. This is going to get interesting here, gentlemen.
Yeah,
Carl Burke is not trying. No, Carl Burke is blocking like a madman. This could be one of the biggest victories of his sim racing career if he can hold on here, Billy. As here comes the run for Gainey to the inside to take away the race lead. Will Burke let him have it this time at the inside? Yes.
Yeah, and he's going to try to hang tough with him on the outside, but Gainey's been a little bit snug off the corners, and you got to be careful to keep yourself, make sure you don't get into the guy on the outside. If that's the case, oh boy, we've got a 3-way battle for the race win right now. This is basically a race for your podium. As long as these guys can keep it green, or keep it clean up front, that's going to be the main thing. We've seen a lot of guys fall out due to racing like this, when Gainey slides up in front of Burke.
Back and forth.
Oh, closing the door.
And now Gainey's trying to feed the same type of blocks that Burke just had as they try and break the draft. Cloud starting to settle over. Big blocks down the back straight away as here comes Burke peeking to the inside. Hits the back end. big slide as Burke goes to the outside.
My, oh my.
Oh boy, these guys, that was their freebie. In the cat terms, that was their 9th life, both of them. I don't think we're going to see that again. That's Burke way down to the inside now while trying to break the draft.
Wow.
Side by side, that time by, Burke would have had it by 13th 1,000th of a second. Keep in mind, Gray is watching along with all of this. The other cars have fallen off by a 10th or 2 a lap despite all the squabbling. 7 to go, coming to 6 laps to go here at Indianapolis. As Burke now goes to the inside. Here comes Gainey, though, with a big run once again. He's now gone into the side tires again.
Oh, this is going to get wild. When Rylan Gray decides he's ready to go, this is going to get nasty.
Yeah, this is going to be wild. Even more so, more and more to the inside. Still is Gainey. Burke still handing it tough on that outside. Gray continues to watch in the catbird seat. 6 to go at the yard of bricks.
Oh, boy. That's all I can say. Oh, boy, this is going to get tight.
It's already been tight. Gainey this time, though. Still not able to get clear. Lap traffic ahead. Lindsay moving to the far inside. Gainey tries to pick up some of the draft. Lindsay goes in the grass to move out of the way as Burke retakes the lead, but here comes Gainey again. Gray tops out at 196 at the end of the straight as Gainey takes the point.
Oh, boy. Oh, no. Here we go again. Oh, man.
Yeah, and we still got coming up on 4 laps to go here.
5.
5. If I'm them at this point, Rylan Gray right now, all he needs to do is sit in this draft. That's what he needs to do. Sit in the draft. Don't do anything crazy. Don't lose the draft. And get yourself... Basically, this race right now, these guys back and forth, they're just trying not to break their rhythm. But you've got to be so careful here with 5 laps to go.
And Gainey this time trying to push Burke up the track. Burke loses it.
Goes around.
No caution yet as Burke slams the outside wall. Caution is now out with 4 to go. And this may come down to a lap.
Dallas breezed backwards in turn 4. Looks like he got into Tyler Grafton just a little bit there.
Oh, boy. So we'll go back to Carl Burke.
And we'll take a look at the instant replay as, wow, this could come down to 2 cars. Burke is officially out. This is what happened.
I don't really think Gainey got into him. But what we saw was, I think, we'll go back, we'll go to this camera here to take a quick peek at it. I almost think Gainey got into the corner. Burke turned in too much and had to turn back to the right there, and got loose, overcorrected, and all she wrote for Carl Burke.
He's out of the race for obvious reasons here, but man, that's got to be heartbreaking. Burke had the race of his career on this service so far.
Yeah, so we're going to get, looks like a 1-lap shootout here for the top 2 spots between Gainey, and I must say, a couple laps prior to that, they got tangled up down into turn number 3. Gainey and Burke both saved those cars, and Rylan Gray was smart enough to not drive through them, but lift off the throttle and keep himself in contention. Right now, your top 3 cars are the cleanest cars on the racetrack, so not anything, not what we expected here at all. But if you've seen, like we were talking, the Freedom 100 in the real-life version, this is pretty customary, seeing 5 or 6 cars left at the end of the race battling out for the lead. But Jari Brubacher really hasn't had a ton of speed through this, but if he can start right on the gearbox of Rylan Gray, he's going to have a shot coming to the line, I believe, as we're going to get the 1 to go next time by.
He had finally broken away from the air damage cars bait, and he was closing in a little bit with some of the battling before that caution flag by about 4/10.
Right now, if I'm Jari, I'm watching these two because I'm honestly, if I'm Jari, I'm expecting them to crash. Tyler Grafton, he's also going to be in a pretty decent spot here. Dallas Breeze has popped down on the pit road to try to fix a little bit. I don't know what to say at this point. Hard to predict it. Who knows?
And we've seen how good the control car has been each launch so far by at least 4 car lengths. Is there going to be enough time in one lap to make the move? Billy?
Yeah, I think really if you've watched Aaron Rouse and Carl Burke, you've been able to break away on the start. As long as you don't miss a shift, we're gonna have a 1 lap shootout to end this thing. You might not get to Dennis Gainey. So you really have to have a very good restart and make sure you also don't jump the restart. That's going to be the key. Is Dennis is your control car. He's going to have the option really when to fire once the cars get onto the front stretch. So it's going to definitely be a wild one.
Coming up to 1 to go for the signal this time expected, and that likely signals the 1 lap shootout. Again, as mentioned, a quick yellow track here in Indianapolis. Each caution, approximately 3 laps total. And there's the 1 to go signal coming from the pace car. Gainey, Gray, Rupacher, Grafton, Plunkett, Breeze, Lindsay are the only cars left on track. The top 6 are on the lead lap. For Lindsay, he cannot finish higher than where he's at right now in 8th. Final thoughts, Baden, before the green for the final lap of this year's Crescent Donut Patriot 100.
If I'm Yari, I'm ready to miss the wreck. That's about it. If I'm Tyler Grafton, I'm hoping Yari goes with him.
That might be the truest statement that we've seen. I know Rylan is an aggressive dirt racer. Gainey, kind of the cagey veteran. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. But this restart's just going to be for all the marbles. Yeah, and Stephen Hill saying in chat, it's been an entertaining race. The race has been phenomenal when we've stayed green. So kind of I have a feeling if I know the drivers' meeting on Saturday is going to be rather intense with some stern talkings to make sure that these guys understand, without these faster pairs, you've really got to keep your car clean. And that was the main point here when we were coming to green earlier. Before the race started, keep your car clean and you're going to be in contention to win. And look at this, we've got 2 cars left that are clean, or 3, and all 3 up front.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a wild finish from the Brickyard. 1 lap to decide the Crescent Donut Patriot 100. Gainey, Gray, Rupacher, the best options and odds with their cars and their conditions. Everyone else with decent amounts of damage. Final lap from the Brickyard underway. Gray timed it up perfect. Rupacher caught sleeping. Gray to the back gearbox already of Gainey.
I think turn 3 is about to get real exciting.
How aggressive will Gainey be on the block? Gray has been patient all race. He's taken a couple peeks here and there, but he hasn't done the full lunge yet. Will he do it here? Up to the gearbox. Tries to set it up line for line to the outside. Here comes Rupacher. What a run for Rupacher to the inside of Gainey. Contact. They crash. Rylan Gray. Rylan Gray gets through. Here comes Grafton with the damage. Is there enough time to get to the checkered? Grafton lines up for the draft. Checker flag up in hand. Gray goes for the block. At the stripe. It is, I think, Grafton by 4 1,000ths of a second. He wins the Crescent Donut Patriot 100.
Folks, we didn't have a lot of cars on track right now, and we didn't have a bunch at the end. But man, oh man, what a finish! While we're waiting for these guys to get into the Discord here for their interviews, let's go back and watch this again. This finish in instant replay. Unbelievable. We'll actually go back from Tyler Grafton's view. Yari underneath, and Gainey and him just get into it. Gainey into the fence. But my oh my, Grafton had such a run coming off of 4 where I think Rylan had to lift going through that crash.
Look at the opportunity that Grafton had, and he just went with it.
I mean, we're talking minuscule. Unbelievable.
Again, 4 1,000ths of a second was the difference. Guess who was the only person not to have any sort of tire service or any sort of pit stops? Grafton. And he finds the perfect time to draft on by for the checkered. Wow. What a finish.
Wow.
I guess for future reference, Patriot 100 strategy doesn't matter. Speed doesn't matter. Damage doesn't matter. Being in the right place at the right time and just going for it. That's it.
Yari made it interesting there at the end, and it looks like we've got. I'm not sure if we've got Dallas Breeze in here yet, but we do have Tyler Grafton and Rylan Gray. So we'll go ahead and interview your race winner, Justin. Take it away.
After another close finish in the Crescent Patriot 100 in its early history, it's a 4 1,000th of a second difference between Grafton and Gray that decides it. Tyler, you had damage, but you found the right moment at the right time to take the checkered. How are you feeling?
I'm ecstatic. I mean, I've ran just like everyone else in the field hundreds of laps this week, and to be able to bring this car home after almost getting caught up in a wreck about halfway through that race, I mean, feels pretty good. Feels really good. So,
talk us through that final lap where you had to close up a big gap, mind you, a massive gap for the battle for the win.
I figured the only way I was going to win is if someone else wrecked someone else in that field, and I saw Yari go 3 wide, and I thought there was 0 chance of them making it on the last lap since they were all going to keep their foot in it. So I just kept my distance, waited to get that run, and I got that run on Rylan in the short chute, tried to make the move off 4, but it wasn't going to do it there, so I had to fall back in line and just hope I could get a good enough draft going down the straightaway to get him at the end.
Overall, $25 top prize, but also you get the first provisional available for the 2021 running of the Wicked Energy Gum Fake 500. Overall, what does that overall mean to you to be not just part of this event, but have a shot now with the provisional potentially for the Fake 500?
Yeah, I think what you said, the prize money, I guess that's cool and all, but to have a chance to get in, I don't want anyone to have problems and to not be able to run, but if I'm able to run and get in and, run the Fake 500 again, I feel like I got something to prove after last year. I did not have a very good showing in the Fake 5, did not have a car that had the good enough balance to even make it, 20 laps into a run. So I feel like I've got a car with balance. If I'm able to get in the Fake, I got to make a couple changes because this car was not that good on restarts today. But overall, I got a chance to run the Fake 500. I mean, this whole week's been great. Sucked not making it outright, but to win the Patriot 100 is still really cool to me.
Anyone you want to thank for your run tonight?
I want to thank my only sponsor, Holy Cow Beef Snacks. Shout out to him. Great product in the central Illinois area. If you're in a gas station anywhere or own a business, go to holycowbeefsnacks.com. Go check out their product and get it in your stores. And if you see it in the stores, go buy it yourself. Best tasting beef snack available.
Congratulations on the victory tonight in what turned out to be a crazy finish. Congrats. That's Tyler Grafton, your winner of the Crescent Patriot 100. A very happy driver, I think, after this one tonight, and what was a crazy finish. Standing by with your second place finisher, Baden Stewart, is with Rylan Gray. He came across the stripe just 4 1,000ths of a second behind the very edge of the front wing of Grafton's car.
Rylan, just walk us through that last lap. That was intense. We hate to see it play out. We always hate to see the heartbreak, for somebody, but just run us through that last lap there.
I couldn't even explain how surprised I was with the run Grafton had. I saw the leader, I think it was Dennis, wrecked, so I just, kept driving. I thought I had it, but then I checked my rearview mirror and I see some guy flying about maybe 5 miles an hour faster than me. So I'm just telling myself you're gonna have to block him on the front stretch. And I tried to do that. I wasn't expecting to have that much of a run on the front stretch after blocking him, but besides that, really, really good race.
It looked like coming down the front stretch there. You made the car wide, but you didn't drive him dirty. You ran him clean. We like to see that. Just heartbreak, and just you were right there. The car looked like it had really good pace. How did you feel throughout the whole run here?
Well, I just got to thank Skyler for the setup and just him helping me this entire time through qualifying and practice. He's been my tutor for these cars since this is my first time ever running them. But the setup felt really good, and the only problem was the wind. I think you guys saw in turn 1 and 2, I almost tapped the wall multiple times. Just kept getting tight in that corner. But I mean, setup wise, car felt really good, and the track felt really good, to be honest.
Yeah, you like I said, you were right there, and we just that's heartbreaking, but you made it through the wreck. Yeah, that was mighty impressive itself. You were right there. It's just that's how Indy is. You just sometimes it's for you, sometimes it's against you.
Yeah. I knew they were starting to get squirrely by maybe lap 35, so I just stood back, didn't try to follow the draft. They were trying to break on each other as they were starting to tap wheels, getting closer to the wall. So I just kind of stood back because I knew something was going to happen. But on lap about 38, I think I was just going because I wasn't expecting them to wreck. But on that last corner, I think before lap 38, they wrecked, and I was just super surprised because, I mean, they were starting to run a little bit cleaner then. But
Yeah, that's just end of the race. It's getting intense. You thanked Skylar Brown. Is there anybody else you'd like to thank?
my uncle, because he's let me run his rig for the entire duration of this race, and since my old rig, my Fanatec base broke on it, so he's willing to let me run his for this race, and I just got to thank him for that, for giving me the chance to even run it.
That's good. That's real good. Good run today, Rylan. We wish it could have played out a little bit better for you, but thank you for hopping in here and talking to us for a minute, bud.
Thank you.
That's Rylan Gray coming home second tonight in this one. Also standing by is Dallas Breeze. That's Dallas Breeze coming home in what was a crazy race and a very quiet third place finish for Dallas. He's standing by with Billy.
Dallas, not what you were looking for, but did after that first incident, did you think you'd make it back to the podium?
After the first, I wasn't sure. After the second, I was a little less sure, and then after the third contact I had, I just didn't care at that point. I was just going to try and fix what I could and go full send.
Yeah, you. I think you were one of the ones to look at early. You showed a lot of race pace. And it just seemed nothing really went your way this fake 500. Had some troubles in qualifying and was able to make it into the Patriot 100. But third's not what you wanted in this race. I know you wanted to be in the big show, but tell us about your month.
Not bad. I mean, overall, considering I spent most of this race with a crumpled up car. But then again, I can't blame that. Tyler's sitting on the bricks with a crunched rear wing. I felt good. I borrowed a setup or worked from a setup and did some tuning myself, found some speed. I just let nerves get to me for qualifying for the fake. And that just got away from me. This race, I chewed some Wicked Relief before the race started and tried to settle the nerves a little bit and tried to stay clean, but I was happy with my pace. Bad breaks are going to happen in racing, so I was happy to have a fast car, and especially one that I kind of tuned myself a little bit to kind of suit my style. Can't complain about a podium after having to make 2 or 3 stops or whatever, so good time. Still a great event that you guys put on, and the fact that I stuffed it in the fence just from nerves should be a testament to how much pressure we feel just to go out and drive video game cars. Just the event you guys put on.
Well, we appreciate the kind words, and we hope to see you back for the next running of the Wicked Energy Gun Fake 500. Just big thanks for you running it as well. Anybody else you got to thank on that thing?
I do actually. I wasn't going to run this year, and Spencer Stubbs contacted me and asked if I'd be willing to run with Apex Autosport on the car. So huge thank to Spencer. He sponsored a day earlier in the week. He helped me out to get in the race, and good guy, good family, and without him I wouldn't have been here. So thanks, Spencer, and Apex Autosport.
That is Dallas Breeze, your third place finisher in the Crescent Donut Patriot 100. What a day.
What a day and what a night indeed, as once again, to quickly run down what was a crazy finish. 5 cars in the end finished on the lead lap in this one. Tyler Grafton by 4/1000 of a second over Rylan Gray. Dallas Breeze finishes in third to round at the podium. Adam Plunkett, Dennis Gainey also finished inside the top 5. Harry Rupacher did not finish on the lead lap. He DNF'd with a tow in 6th. Carl Burke 7th. Lindsay finished in 8th, 6 laps down. McMahon and Ralphs, unfortunate for him, rounds out the top 10. Both of those drivers, 9th and 10th, were some of the favorites and the quickest drivers early, but in the end, the drivers who kept their cars the cleanest and made the smartest moves, Baden, won the race.
Yep, and Tyler, he saw the hole open up. He saw the opportunity there. He took it and played out well for him. That in turn 4, he jumped back in line behind Rylan Gray to keep that toe down the front stretch because he knew what he had. That was an incredibly smart move. It was really interesting to see him do that. That was very, very smart, very good call, and I think that's probably what won the race there.
Your thoughts, Billy, on this one? And of course, don't forget, there's still the night before the fake 500 coming up too.
Yeah, wild day, not what we expected at all. Again, last year, quick repairs. This year, none. So these guys got to really understand, that give and take. It's big. When it comes down to the final laps, you kind of expect those things to happen. That was shades of 89-esque with Little Al, and ironically, Rylan Gray running a Little Al car.
And an orange car around the outside.
Yeah, so kind of shades of 89 there coming to the finish, but I'm absolutely pleased. 4/1000ths of a second difference over 40 laps for these two. A heck of a finish. Good way to end Crescent Donut Patriot 100. Huge thanks to them once again for being the title sponsor of this event, along with some sponsorship through the rest of the week. And looking forward to Dirt Midgets at Kokomo tomorrow for Epperson Painting Night before the 500.
It's going to be an entertaining one, absolutely. Be sure to tune in. Once again, race scheduled to start at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, coverage starting at approximately 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch that here once more on Elbows Up TV for what's expected to be an entertaining thriller in the Dirt Midgets at Kokomo. With that, it's time to say goodbye. From our broadcast partners tonight, Bain Store and Billy Rowley, for race directors Zane Scott and Jeffrey Stewart, I'm Justin Prince saying so long, enjoy the rest of your night, and what has been another chapter of the story written for the Crescent Donut Patriot 100. Your winner tonight, Tyler Grafton, by 4/1000ths of a second.
Would you believe me if I told you an old story? One where the beginning is more than 100 years old. One that's featured every big name to exist in auto racing. Would you believe me if I said nothing grows old here? Where thousands and thousands come to be awed and inspired by speed? One where dreams are born, then just as quickly destroyed? Would Would you believe me if I said it was more than just a race? One that requires so much sacrifice for just a chance at glory. One where their faces are etched into history to never be forgotten. Would you believe me if I said this version of the story was different? A version where the cars are virtual, but the racing and competition are real. A story that brings grown men and women to tears, then just a page later to a smile from ear to ear. A story so fast it's tough to keep up with. One with danger and thrill around each and every corner. A story about heartbreak. And a story about perseverance. It's a story about redemption. And a story about triumph.
Well, this is the closest thing, boys, to living a dream. Gentlemen, start your engines.
This is the story of the Wicked Energy Gum Fake 500.